How do we get a 69,000 pound cabin from here to here? But first you may be thinking, why wouldn't Ulrich just build the cabin right here on my property? To answer that question, we need to go talk to Brian Pokruszak, Vice President of Cabin Sales here at Ulrich. So we build off-site, meaning we build our cabins in the factory here and then deliver to our customer's property.
Right.
Now, why go to all that trouble? Why not just build on the customer's property to begin with?
That's a great question. I will tell you this, that most of our customers that come in here have built in the past and gone through the on-site construction experience.
Right.
And most of them call it the most stressful time of their lives.
Not a good experience.
Not a good experience. So on our end of things, we're building in a controlled environment, so we don't have to deal with weather.
Yeah.
Right? Number two is all of our materials are stored inside and secured.
Right.
So we're not dealing with theft. And probably one of our biggest benefits is everyone that works for us who's building, whether we're framers or interior finish out, roofers, electrician, they're all employees of the company. We don't depend on subcontractors. Yeah. So what's that mean? That means when consumers come in here to buy a home from us, they only got one finger to point at, and it's right here.
Right.
So, so we've got it all under control, a great process, and we, like I said, we pride ourselves on a headache-free build experience.
So that's why we build our custom homes here in the factory and then deliver them to your property. Now it's time to find out what's the largest cabin that we can safely deliver down the road. So what's the largest cabin we can deliver on a truck?
The largest single cabin we can deliver on a truck is 18 foot in width by 64 feet in length. That's about 1,150 square feet of a house going down the road.
Okay, and that would be similar to what we have behind us here, is that right?
Yeah, this is an 18-foot model here in our model park.
Yeah, so that's big. How much is one of those going to weigh?
Yeah, so when we go 18 by 64, you're about 69 to 70,000 pounds in a single house on a single truck and trailer going down the road.
Wow, that's a lot of weight to transport, but it's also a lot of weight for the structure itself to support. So how can we build a structure that supports all that weight? In order to get to the bottom of this mystery, we need to go to the bottom of the cabin structure, the floor system. What type of foundation system are we using?
We use an above ground mason pier foundation.
All right, so the piers are going to be sitting underneath this beam, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And these beams run the whole length of the building.
Right.
Now, why is it important for that beam to be such a big beam?
The reason why it has to be so massive and big has to support the structure.
Yeah.
It has to support transportation being loaded onto a truck, offloaded, and then set up on the piers. So we want to make sure that we deliver a product that's is going to have the longevity, durability and longevity.
Now, am I right that we can actually take a forklift to one end of the building and actually lift it up, and it's strong enough to support its entire weight like that?
Yes, that's actually how they maneuver the structure on site. Once we get to the customer's property and they set it on the piers, they use a forklift and they do exactly what you mentioned.
It's not just the floor though. The walls and roof structure are built extremely well too. The walls are built with 2x6 lumber and the roof features massive 2x12 trusses. As Megan explained in episode 3, wall coverings like sheetrock tend to crack during the delivery process. Using real wood inside our cabins makes so that the cabins are in great shape when they arrive at our customer's property. So we've talked about how our heavy-duty construction allows the structure of the cabin itself to be transported. Now let's look at the equipment it takes to transport a 69,000 pound cabin. So this is a strange looking semi-trailer. Explain how we use this to transport a 34-ton cabin.
Remember those 4 big beams that run the length of the cabin? The 2 beams on the inside are spaced perfectly to allow them to securely fit on the trailer.
So that makes sense, but how do we actually get a cabin up onto the trailer?
This trailer has a tilt feature that lets us get these ramps on the back all the way down to the ground. As we back the trailer under the cabin, the front edge of the cabin slides up onto the trailer. After the cabin is more than halfway onto the trailer, it's just a matter of lowering the trailer to the normal position. Then we have a winch system that pulls the cabin all the way into the position.
Now the trailer is only about 8 feet wide, but the cabins are actually 18 feet wide. So how do we keep these things from toppling off when we're going down the road?
Well, after the cabin is on the trailer, we winch it down really tight so it doesn't move.
Okay. So with that, you can just go around a tight curve and no worries, it's all good.
Not quite. The cabin will stay connected to the trailer no matter what, but you still have to respect the laws of physics. Driving one of these safely down the road requires a lot of concentration. You never want to get into a situation where you're forced to swerve quickly or trying to stop on a dime.
So getting an 18-foot wide cabin down the road is no small task. What do we have to do that safely and legally?
We have to pull a permit from the Department of Transportation, which will specify our route, and then we also have to get 2 escort drivers that will take us safely to the destination.
Depending on a customer's property, sometimes getting the cabin down the road safely is the easy part. Sometimes a customer wants their cabin at the top of a steep hill or at the end of a narrow little lane. So what is one of the toughest cabin deliveries that you've done recently?
Ranger Ridge would be the toughest that we got into yet. So when we got there, we stopped on the bottom of the hill, and I figured I'd drive up in an ATV just to look at it.
Yeah.
And I drove up and I said, well, you know what, I think I can do this.
Yeah.
But then coming back down, I'm like, oh boy, this doesn't look good.
Right.
So,
right.
But I said, you know what, I'm going to try it, because if I don't, I can't say I didn't try, right? Tried it, got up probably quarters of a way, and it started spinning out. But we already had a dozer up a little ways. Yeah. And we hooked it up. But
so you hooked the dozer up to your semi-tractor.
Right.
Okay. And then what happened?
Then my truck is a little too fast for the dozer. The dozer is a lot slower. So I would start spinning and the dozer couldn't keep up. With me. So it didn't work.
Now, was there any point in the conversation where you were talking with people in the office here or whatever, where it was like, no, we're probably just not going to be able to do this, we'll just have to cancel the order or something like that?
No, I always think of different options, of different ways to do stuff.
Yeah.
And my second option was to drop the cabin and try a forklift.
Okay. Yeah.
So we got 2 forklifts. And we still couldn't do it.
Okay. So now at this point you're probably really scratching your head.
Yeah.
Right? So, actually, but you had an idea though.
I said, you know what? I saw those dump trucks going up that hill.
Yeah.
6-wheelers. Just crawling up real slow. So I thought about an army truck, an old army truck.
So we went ahead and bought an army truck.
Yes, sir.
And so you tried that. How'd that go then?
It went really well. We went up probably, I would say, half the way. And it started spinning out too.
Just the army truck?
Just the army truck,
Yeah,
not hooked up.
Right.
But we had a dozer just in case. And so we hooked it up and it drug it up the hill.
So with the dozer and the 6-wheel drive army truck,
yes, sir,
then you could actually get the cabin up the hill.
That's it.
So what would you say is the key to making a successful cabin delivery in a tough spot?
Well, the first thing is attitude. We try to approach it with a can-do attitude. The second thing is commitment. Failure is not an option. Someone's dream is at stake. So we'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. If it means bringing in extra equipment or manpower, we won't stop until the cabin is in place.
When you roll up with that new cabin, how are the customers feeling at this point?
Nervous and excited at the same time.
So kind of nervous because they're not sure how the process works and that kind of thing, but they're excited because it's their new home, right?
Right.
So they see you unload it, get it all set up and level and all that process, and you've done this like many, many times by now. So how's the customer feeling by the time you're done?
By the time I'm done, they're super excited.
Yeah. Well, it seems like that's probably pretty fulfilling for you to be able to like make all these dreams come true and just like be the the person who delivers the dream to the property. So there you have it. That's how we deliver a 69,000-pound cabin wherever it needs to go. It starts with incredibly strong cabin construction, requires specialized equipment and skilled drivers, and last but not least, it requires a can-do attitude that will stop at nothing to make our customers' cabin dream come true.